Bad Blood matches are announced. Bret Hart returns to Calgary. A lot of tributes going on tonight. Not for the Perry Power, though. Let's just bloody well get at her.
I finally decided to wear red.
Thank goodness for that. You're about time. Finally joined the club here. It's red for Mondays. I am Andrew. This is Doug. Welcome to DA Wrestling. On today's show, we're going over Raw. We're going to go over All Out. We're going to talk some news that's going on in the world of wrestling, and we're going to talk a little important subject here about concussions. Because some things happened over on the weekend that should probably be addressed. Feel positive and maybe even different opinionated way. First, though, Doug, what's going on?
Not much, man. You know, a fall-like Monday afternoon here in Canada.
It is hoodie weather, 100% hoodie weather.
Oh, it's chilly out there right now. I mean, being 11 o'clock at night, but we had a chilly weekend too.
Yeah, it wasn't bad though. I mean, actually, yesterday morning, Monday morning was. I had to wear my coat. Well, it's kind of like a little windbreaker, nothing too crazy. But it was good though. It's not bad. It's warm. At that point now, we're gonna have semi-cold mornings, warm days, and cold nights.
Yeah, so keep a sweater handy.
Yeah, keep a hoodie ready or something like that. It's hoodie
And
weather.
don't be like me and keep them all in boxes because I haven't unpacked my fall shit yet.
Well, you know what? It's hoodie weather. You know what that means? It means the NFL season started. Both our teams won. Thank goodness for that. But let's get on to Raw. A lot of stuff happened. A fair amount of things happened today here on Monday Night Raw. Raw started the other day with the WYATT 6 street fight. I thought that was going to be more of like a mid show thing, but they started off right out the bat with that.
Yeah, they announced that earlier in the day that it was going to be kicking off Raw.
Yeah.
So it's like season premiere week on USA for WWE. And we'll get into some implications of that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed this street fight. A lot of really cool spots. You even had Nikki Cross throw a German on Chad Gable. Gable with a top rope angle slam to Dexter Lumis. And so I've been kind of hesitant to be critical, I suppose, of this WYATT 6 angle, but I really enjoy the fact that they're not attached to the characters that they wear the masks of.
Yeah, they're identifying actually as the people who they are.
The only one that kind of in the ring is the same is Bo. But if Loomis or Gacy or Rowan or Nikki are in there, like it's just them.
Yeah, which is actually quite good. They did say when they did the WYATT 6 was coming out and debuting that it was going to be very different from what Bray did. Bray was more supernatural. They want to make this more, I guess, real life based.
Yeah,
that's the way the term I would do. I don't want to use it like a psycho term or like more real life based kind of things.
Yeah,
using some form of supernatural, I guess.
Do you like honestly the right team won here, and that should be the end of this?
I hope so, because there's only so much you can do with American Made, and I feel American Made right now is, I don't want to say getting buried, but if they're having good matches.
Well, no, like it's a new group, and honestly, like give it time. I think the Creeds will be tag champs probably by WrestleMania.
It's a possibility.
Well, I honestly, they're probably the number 2 tag team on Raw. behind probably New Day. And
Well, the champs right now are Balor and McDonough.
right, but
not like they're
I
defending
don't,
week.
because, and we'll get into the Judgment Day stuff in a bit.
Yeah.
But that's not, to me anyway, that's not a long term.
Long-term thing.
I don't think that's a long-term tag team because, I mean, yeah, again, like I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like Balor was talking about how Damian turned him into a sidekick. I think that was kind of like foreshadowing.
Are you trying to say that Damian Priest turned Win Balor into Robin?
Well, that's how Balor felt.
I mean, I kind of understand where he's coming from, because when Balor first came in to the Judgment Day, despite Priest and Rhea being there first, it was almost brought in to almost like lead the Judgment Day, considering the way things were with Edge. That they had his WrestleMania match with Edge to show that he was kind of the leader, but that kind of went to the wayside after that.
Because well, I think two things happened. One, Balor kind of became stagnant,
Mm-hmm.
and two, you look at the rise. I mean, all pun intended. You look at the rise of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley as baby faces, and I don't think anyone seen that coming when this group formed in early 2022.
No, when Priest won that Money in the Bank, that's kind of when things started really shifting.
Yeah, but again, he didn't really start becoming a babyface till after he was already world champion.
Yeah, but I'm not really talking about the babyface term. Probably about more or less like.
But even
Priest
just like getting
when the Money in the Bank title, when Money in the Bank, it was kind of like we're shifting away from Balor in general.
yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah, I see where you're going there. Putting the Money in the Bank on Priest kind of let everybody know he was the project.
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to say
I
chosen
see.
one, but around those lines.
I see you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess we're already into it now. Let's
Yeah.
just.
Speaking of
I mean,
Judgment Day,
it was a good street fight. I think like there's enough. I could see the Wyatts going after Wyatts or after Judgment Day.
that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, especially considering their whole thing is family
Betrayals.
and
Yeah.
betrayals. Yeah. So I can see it going after the
And
Judgment Day.
I could see it being a full blown like 10 person tag.
That'd be cool. I'm okay with that.
Like, once Balor and Liv finish up, um once they finish up at Bad Blood with Damien and Rhea,
Yeah.
which I hope it's the end anyway. You could even like wild idea here. Okay. I know it's going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline in War Games. We all know that's coming. But wouldn't it be cool if it was Judgment Day versus Wyatt 6 in War Games?
They could do two, right? They have done a women's and they have done a men's the same night, right? So they could do a women's one. I mean, they could do two. I mean, obviously, you're trying to just be both men, but
Right. But I mean, you would have Liv and Nikki in there, but I don't. Even if you put Liv and Nikki in the women's, I don't know how you incorporate Nikki Cross into a team that's not the Wyatt Six.
yeah, that'd be the hard part.
Exactly. So like it's a pipe dream, but I think that would be cool.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of Judgment Day, they got beat up tonight, Priest and Rhea. But it's also announced too that Rhea will be facing Liv Morgan for the title at Bad Blood.
And Damien and Finn Although I don't think it was made official yet, but
It was hinted at.
yeah, like Priest accepted the challenge. So
Yeah. So I mean, it's probably safe to assume here. I would assume that Rhea's going to regain the title at this point. I mean, you would think so.
um,
I mean, we thought it was a
well,
foregone conclusion at SummerSlam, and it wasn't.
it was a if Rhea was 100%, I would say it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
But with that knee banged up, obviously in storyline, okay. But the way that they've been focusing on the knee, and there was another big attack on the knee tonight. Um,
That that attack was very similar to when the Judgment Day took out Edge and Beth. A little similar.
well, I mean, you did have Damien say
Cover.
to Finn, like, he wrote the fucking playbook.
Yeah.
Um, he wrote the Judgment Day playbook. He knew it was a trap,
Yeah.
but it was still like the numbers advantage. Um, I think Jay came out too late. I think Jay could have come out before a lot of that damage happened,
Yeah, could have.
and it still would have been effective.
Yep.
But like when Liv, or who was beating on Damien with the crutch? Was that Liv?
Live.
Yeah. So
When
when Liv was beating on Damien with the crutch,
yeah.
I'm like, this would be the perfect time to hit Jay's music and him comes screaming down.
Yeah. And I'm surprised they haven't
But
targeted Jay yet though. Like they
pardon
could have
me,
targeted Jay tonight in that IC title match.
it's coming.
Yeah, I assume it would be too. So he's sticking their nose in Judgment Day business.
I think Judgment Day is going to cost Jey Uso the tag or the Intercontinental title,
That'd make the most sense right now.
and because of that, because it still incorporates Damian and Finn, I think that you have an actual legitimate reason to throw Jay and Damian in the tag title picture. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. The only problem is you do have that lingering bloodline thing coming up. Before you know it, it's gonna be bad blood. Before you know it, you're gonna have Survivor Series.
Right. But again, like, that's the end of November. That's like 8 weeks away. You can still do this.
Right.
Like, so for example, okay, say 2 weeks from now, you have Braun Breaker and Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Then on your go home show for Bad Blood, 3 weeks from now, you can have the tag title match between Finn and JD, Damian and Jay, because Damian and Jay already have a win over them. So that's reason number one. Okay. Reason number two is now you have Judgment Day cost Jey Uso the titles.
If that does happen, yeah.
Right. Reason number three is, of course, the Damian and Finn play. Right. So there's more than enough logical reasons for us to see this match, and it gives Jay something to do until Survivor Series rolls around.
Fair enough. We'll see what happens though.
Because, yeah,
Speaking
I
of
mean,
title,
I think that cage match is gonna tell a lot on Friday.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna tell an absolute lot on Friday. Speaking of IC title, so Jey Uso, as we mentioned, has won the IC title tournament. Basically, he'll be facing Braun Breaker. They haven't really mentioned actually when he will be facing Braun Breaker. I'm assuming it's going to be a Bad Blood or it's going to be on a Raw.
No, I think it's going to be sooner than that because think about it like this: Braun Breaker hasn't actually had a match in like 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
He's been on TV, but he hasn't had a match in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, he was
Like
a part of every
when
segment.
when was
Those guys.
when was the rematch with Sammy? Like 2 weeks after SummerSlam?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Um, so he hasn't had a match since then.
Okay.
So I think you want to get a Braun Breaker match in before the pay-per-view.
Okay, fair enough.
And again, you don't necessarily because you have enough going on for this Bad Blood card.
Yeah.
You're still going to need probably one of the 2 world titles to be defended.
I just say I would assume when we get to the next story, that's where we're going to talk about that really quickly.
Probably, but then now you have 4 matches on, like, and all of them are Raw. So where's your SmackDown presence on Bad Blood? Is this going to be a 6 or 7 match show?
It could be. It is. Well, it
But
is.
do they stick to the formula of the 5 matches?
They could do it. All depends what they want to do. They might push to 6 or 7 matches. To be honest, with you. They could.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that, the big one.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a sec, but I think that's going to be like 45 minutes to an hour.
Hey, fair enough.
When you include entrances and stuff, I think that's going to be 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. So that one here, yeah. Braun Breaker also was in every segment with every participant that's in there and had something to say to all of them. The one with Braun Strowman really stuck out. Obviously, the Jey Uso one sticks out a lot too.
Is it just me, or is he like leaning back into the baby face?
Who? Braun?
Braun.
I think he's going to be one of those in between people.
Because he's like, you're going to be asking yourself, why are the dogs so loud in Canada?
I think he's going to be in between. I think he's going to be kind of a bit of both, bit of heel, bit of face. It all depends on the situation he's going to be in. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's a full blown heel. I don't think he's going to be a full blown face. I think he's going to be kind of in between, right in the middle there.
That's fair. Yeah.
Depending on who he faces, I think it will determine whether he'll be the heel or not.
Like he'll be the heel in this feud with Jey.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Because Jay's one of the most over baby faces on
absolutely
in the company right now.
Absolutely.
I would argue that Jay's the number 3 baby face behind Cody and Roman.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard not to it's hard not to say who you can almost go 1A, 1B with Cody and Roman and then have Jay right there. You really want to.
Exactly.
No, it depends on how you want to look at it.
I would throw in Punk and Seth as like a top 5.
I would throw Punk in over. I would throw Punk way ahead of Seth, like by a long shot.
Right now, yes,
for sure. Although when Seth comes back, it'll probably be really big. So we mentioned a match that might go on Bad Blood. Tonight we saw the return of Bret Hart onto Raw. And I'm convinced that most people came to Raw tonight in Calgary because it emanated from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Were there really just to see Bret Hart.
That was like the loudest they were all night.
Yeah.
I made that comment on SmackDown about how the crowd in Edmonton was kind of lukewarm.
Yeah, but it kind of showed in Calgary. I think everybody was there mostly for Bret Hart, and rightfully so. To be honest, rightfully so. It's Calgary literally is Hart country. It's the epitome of Hart country. It's the epicenter.
Yeah. Yes.
Hart comes out for a nice segment, interrupted by Gunther. I'm a little I thought when Gunther said, "You're my second favorite wrestler." My first was Goldberg. I thought he was going to say Shawn.
Yeah, but
I wasn't expecting Goldberg to be said.
Who is the one person that Bret Hart hates the most?
Yeah, him and Shawn have made up over the years. So like they're much better than they were. Right? I'm sure. I don't think they go. I don't think they have each other over for coffee and tea and shit.
Oh,
But
they probably do.
well, I know they definitely probably get together much more often and talk a lot more, and there's a budding friendship there. But I know Brett hates Goldberg with a passion, and Goldberg has gone on record saying he has apologized enough for it.
And whatever side of the fence you're on there,
Yeah,
doesn't really matter.
to be honest, yeah, I'm at that point now with this whole feud between Bret Hart and Goldberg that let bygones be bygones. The guy made a horrible mistake.
It was 25 years ago.
Yeah, let's. If you compare the hatch with Shawn, compare the hatch with Goldberg and call it a day. There's no point in
It's
holding
a,
grudges at this point in time.
it's all semantics at this point, bruh.
Yeah, it really is. Uh, but Sami Zayn came out, and we're gonna talk about what he was wearing. We're gonna talk about in a bit there, but he was wearing a certain jersey tonight. There in
Hmm.
Calgary. Um, Sami basically challenged Gunther again. Gunther this time once again said no. The match I talked about in the early segment ago, I think that's gonna be your match at Bad Blood. I think it's gonna be that's gonna be your world title match. It's gonna be Gunther versus Sami at Bad Blood.
Well, we are 4 weeks away from Bad Blood.
Or a month. Okay.
Yeah, we are 4 weeks away from Bad Blood. Um, there's still a lot. There's still 3 more Raws you can build to this. I think this gets announced probably 2 weeks or a week from now.
No.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Gunther makes Sammy beat Ludwig Kaiser to do it.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I don't. Yeah, I can see that.
In typical heel fashion, but I think that the common thread here is that Gunther's scared of Sammy because the only other time they fought was at WrestleMania
And Gunther lost.
and Sammy beat Gunther.
Yeah. So I think it's a foregone conclusion though. I think it's gonna be Sammy versus Gunther. I'm assuming it's gonna be a Bad Blood.
Do you think Sammy wins the world title?
No, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Gunther gets his win back.
Okay,
I just don't see them pulling the trigger
that's
on
fair.
Sammy. I just don't see them pulling the trigger on Gunther right now, losing that title.
But also, I like that idea too because I like that idea too because then it opens up for a third match down the line where you have Sammy beat him. Um,
I think Sammy may be the one that eventually does dethrone Gunther when you think about it. I just don't think it's right yet.
I could see it happening by the end of the year.
I can see that. Yeah, I just don't happen yet. I just don't think it's gonna happen yet.
I know everyone's convinced that he's going to go on the same type of title reign that he had with the IC title. I'm not so convinced.
No, I don't.
There's so many stories and top guys on Raw right now
Yeah,
that to hold the title hostage for another year and a half,
yeah.
you're wasting a lot of opportunity.
Unfortunately, his name's not Roman Reigns.
No.
Unfortunately.
And that's the thing though, right? So um one thing we're going to start asking ourselves, especially if Gunther does have a long reign, is if because the reason why Roman's title run was able to last for so long and be effective is because he elevated every single person that he defended that title against.
Yeah.
He elevated all of them except for maybe Matt Riddle.
Yeah, there's stuff behind that though, but yeah.
Matt Riddle, and maybe cutting the balls off the demon. But
Yeah.
outside of that, um, I like Roman. He's made superstars out of Jimmy J. He made superstars out of, he elevated Cesaro. He elevated,
Well, he's
like
elevated Solo.
he elevated Solo. He elevated Logan Paul.
Yeah.
L.A. Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, like the list goes on, dude.
Yeah. It's amazing all the things that happened that that man did. Uh, let's get right now to our weekly CM Punk and Drew McIntyre stuff.
Well, it seems that's going to be coming to a close.
It's
So
going to be coming to a
Adam Pearce
close.
says,
Yeah. Announced tonight, Hell in a Cell. I think we called this one the past number of weeks. It'll be Hell in a Cell. I know I mentioned also a possible ambulance match because I know Punk did go on record and said, I don't want to do a Hell in a Cell. But apparently he's changed his mind about that. Or it was just a ruse to make it a regular thing.
probably just a ruse, but
Oh.
this match was always going to be Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for months now.
Yep.
And when this feud started getting hot,
yeah,
right around May,
yeah,
that's when it was like, okay, Hell in a Cell, October.
yeah,
easy. Like that's how you blow off a feud like this.
yeah.
I mean, I love the fact that they pointed out this is the hottest feud this calendar year. In the same year that you had The Rock come back.
Yeah. And that was a pretty
right?
hot feud between Cody and Rock and Roman leading into WrestleMania. That was huge.
Right. Exactly. But I would argue, like, I'm fully okay with Punk and Drew having the feud of the year so far in WWE.
I would say that probably is the feud of the year. And the one thing that Drew mentioned during his whole promo today is that he really elevated CM Punk. Like Drew McIntyre really elevated CM Punk to like a new type of face, to like a really more popular than maybe he should be. But like Drew's done a hell of a lot of work in this thing. Both of them have.
Well, they've both done a great job.
Yeah.
And we're going to see CM Punk's rebuttal next week.
Yeah.
What I liked about what I actually was kind of confused about in this segment, did we just tease a Drew McIntyre Wade Barrett match in 2024?
It's a good possibility. I know Wade's never really said he's done wrestling. He's kind of like just hinted at times, but like he's not injured. He's not like he can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah, like again, like do you want to get him out of the commentary booth? Is that like the play here?
I personally like Wade Barrett as on commentary.
Oh, I love Wade Barrett on commentary.
I think he's great on commentary. So I think you should leave him. If you want to have like a one-off match, like if you want to do a match like this, Wade Barrett versus Drew McIntyre, you can always do it where he comes in at the Rumble and takes out Drew McIntyre out of the Rumble, leading to a match on, say, like No Way Out or Elimination Chamber.
At least this was just a warning.
Yeah. I feel it's gonna be another one coming up though. But
I think this gets to a point where Drew actually does attack Wade.
Yeah.
And yeah, like CM, and the story goes like CM Punk has made this dude lose his mind to the point he's now turning on his friends.
Yeah, he really is. And they made that point tonight too.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Pearce made that point today too. You're losing all your friends.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
That was Raw. Like Raw in a nutshell. All the best parts there. You had a couple other matches. You had Dominic Mysterio versus
Natalia was the mystery partner for Lyra and Selena Vega. They won with Natalia won with a sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Balor beat down Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee got cheated out of a win by Dom.
So, I mean, the big points on Raw were all those things we just mentioned. There wasn't much
Jade
else.
and Jade and Bianca retain their titles, and
That was to be
the
expected.
rest is just kind of like footnotes type
Yeah.
deal.
Uh,
You want to go all out?
well, you know what? Since you kind of let's just go quickly in the news here. Then really quickly news here. Then we'll go right all out. Well, it's going back to 2 hours. First time since 2011.
And this was just made in passing by Joe Tessitore.
Mm-hmm.
This comment, like, if you weren't paying attention because it was in between matches,
Yeah.
because the first hour of Raw was commercial free,
Yeah.
if you weren't paying attention, you would have missed it. But yes, starting October 7th and concluding, I rewound and listened to this a couple times just so I got the proper wording. Starting October 7th and concluding December 30th, which is the last ever Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. Raw will be going from 8 to 10.
Yeah.
They will go back to 2 hours for the last 2 months.
That's some big news considering for the past 13 years. It's been on 3 hours. Like there's gonna be a
Well,
lot of
and
people
that,
that are very happy about this.
yeah, it almost lasted as long 3 hours as it did 2 hours.
Yeah,
Now, also in the early days of Raw, it was actually an hour.
that's true. When Raw first started, it was only an hour.
I think
Nine.
I think we've had
9 to 10.
almost an equal amount of 2 hour Raws as we did 3 hours.
Fair enough.
But yeah, for the first time since July of 2011,
Yeah.
on October 7th, Raw will be 2 hours.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Me too, because
Looking forward to see
that means we get to do this at 10 o'clock instead of 11.
yeah, and we get to see what goes on in the 2 hour span instead of 3 hours because that's a lot of time to fill a 3 hours program.
I think you're gonna see less promos and less meaningless matches.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna hit home.
I think they go back to the
They're gonna hit home a couple of few key storylines each
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah.
and just like Triple H isn't an idiot.
No.
He was there for the 2 hour stuff. So
let's go to All In.
all
All
out.
out.
I watched this yesterday morning.
Yeah.
So I didn't write a comprehensive.
No. Let's just go over certain points. Like let's go over the Pac and Osprey match because that was huge.
Well, I'll just go over the results right away for those that haven't.
Sure.
So, the
Nice.
Bucks beat BCC.
Yeah.
Okada, I believe, retained the Continental title.
Retained the Continental title.
Yeah. In the Fatal 4-Way. Willow and Statlander had a great street fight.
Yeah.
Like a really, like I said, the one tonight was great, but no, this one cleared that one. I recommend you go back and watch that. That was a lot of fun.
MJF beat Daniel Garcia. Then Daniel Garcia returned the favor by kicking him in the nuts.
Yeah, so Daniel Garcia also hit him with a second rope pile driver to essentially write off MJF, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. But there were 3 big things that came out of this show.
Yeah.
Osprey and Pac.
Arguably one of the best matches of the year.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Not all of it yet.
Not all of it yet.
A lot of highlights.
Fuck that whole match is one big highlight reel.
Yeah.
Osprey did call out Ricochet after there was like a backstage segment where Will was just like, hey, start racking up some wins so you can come talk to me.
Yeah.
And Ricochet got in his face.
Yep.
In one of the wildest angles I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
Okay, Danielson beats Jack Perry.
which I think everybody saw coming. What
Everybody
didn't
saw
see
it.
coming was what happened after.
So what happened after was Christian tried to cash in his contract from winning the casino gauntlet at All Out or All In, sorry.
Yeah.
And we also had a brief Jurassic Express reunion.
Yep.
Killswitch came in and locked eyes with Jack Perry.
Yep.
But Christian gets to the bottom of the ramp only to be stopped by John Moxley.
Yeah.
Who was then flanked by Claudio and Wheeler and Pac.
Yeah.
Christian stands down. They all get in the ring. Mox gives Danielson a big hug and a kiss on the forehead. And much like when you know one of your favorite characters is about to die in a TV show.
Yeah.
Think of the prelude to the Red Wedding.
Yep.
Yep. I know that one stings for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're all celebrating. Claudio nails Danielson with an uppercut.
Yeah.
I'll get to it in a second, but there was a brilliant play by Pac here too.
Yeah.
But what happened next was one of the most shocking, and it went on long enough it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's the point where they're going to not show it apparently on Dynamite due to a lot of negativity that happened.
Oh, you can find it. Listen, you can
find
find it, but it's not going to be on any of AEW's official channels.
Yeah, AEW also mentioned too they will not re-show it on Dynamite this week at all. So you're not going to see it. I might probably YouTube it.
Yeah. So Mox.
Speaking of YouTube, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe down below here. Right there. Small click for you, large click for us. We thank you very much for all your support. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of violence in that match.
Mox decided to put a plastic bag over Danielson's head.
Yep.
And basically, we watched attempted murder on live television.
I don't know if it's really attempted. Well, I'm sure it was never any. I'm sure it was all acting to begin with, but
yes,
I understand where you're coming from on this.
But if you were to put a plastic bag over someone's head and tried to choke them with it and suffocate them, that's attempted murder.
Yeah, I'm sure it was just acting.
Listen, coming right off the heels of felony arson on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But now I actually want Moxley to be the one to retire Danielson.
I think Moxley's going to be the one that retires Danielson.
As soon as I saw that, I want Moxley to be the one.
See, now everything that Moxley's been doing kind of makes sense. I still don't understand the whole Darby Allin stuff, but
I think Darby's gonna join Wheeler and Danielson.
Okay, that makes sense.
Against Mox, Claudio, and Pac.
Yeah. And they do have Marina Shafir on that squad as well.
Yeah, I don't know what female you're going to get to go toe-to-toe with Marina. But
Roller Nightingale.
Possibly. But the brilliant play by Pac here, he's giving Yuta a hug right before Claudio drops Danielson. Then once Mox puts the bag over Danielson's head and Wheeler realizes what's going on, Pac swiftly transitions to an arm triangle to restrain Wheeler and make him watch it.
Yeah.
And he just holds him there.
Mm-hmm.
And just makes him watch.
Yeah.
And I thought that that whole angle was done brilliantly.
Yeah.
Again,
to watch to some people, other people not so much.
again, it went on long enough where it kind of started to become uncomfortable. And Jim Ross sold this beautifully.
Yeah.
That's the best I've heard Jim Ross in years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of comfortable stuff that happened all out. Let's get quickly to the cage match. So
Okay.
a couple highlights that I've seen in the whole thing, Derek. I get a chance to watch it. I was at work.
You tell me what you've seen, I'll fill in the blanks for you.
Oh, I like the part where Swerve planted Page onto a cinder block. That was a lot of fun.
Vertebreaker.
Vertebreaker, yeah. Put a needle, by the looks of it, through Swerve's mouth and clocked him with a chair.
Okay.
Along with a bunch of other things that went on in that match. Now, a lot of people said this match was very uncomfortable. There's a reason why it was unsanctioned.
Brother, that's only. First of all, that was the finish. A hypodermic needle followed by one of the most vicious chair shots you'll ever see.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Hangman actually won. I kind of picked Swerve to win this one, but I mean, especially after Hangman burnt down the man's house, I figured, oh, that's Swerve's gonna win for sure. Nope. Nope.
Okay, so here's what you haven't seen from the match.
Yeah.
First of all, Prince Nana prevented both of them from being decapitated by the cage.
That's always fun.
If anyone's ever seen the video from about 10 years ago on Raw, there's a closing angle on one of the Raws where like Roman and Randy are fighting in the ring and they're lowering the cage.
Yeah.
But it was back when WWE would put the spikes on the cage to give it like more stability.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Seth damn near impaled himself trying to get back into the ring. So anyways, the cage is coming down and Nana like literally pushed the heads of both of them back into the ring. Hangman brought a splinter from the house that he just burnt down.
Oh, lovely.
So not only did he get away with felony arson,
yeah,
he brought evidence.
Yeah, he set that thing ablaze.
And tried to stab Swerve with it. It gets better. Remember that staple gun spot from Full Gear last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Now Swerve just laughs it off.
I saw that part. I forgot to mention that.
Swerve did his best to do a buckshot lariat over the referee.
Yep.
We talked about Hangman taking a vertebreaker on the cinder block,
yep.
which really cut up his back.
Yeah.
Swerve just took a straight up power bomb onto the cinder block.
Fantastic.
There was a house call done to a chair. But I mean the lasting moment of that match. And so back in February I talked about the United Empire and the Bullet Club cage match. Which almost cost Henare his career.
Yeah.
And it did cost was it Clark Connors? No.
It's cost concussion. You want to just get into the concussion stuff now because you might as well jump into it.
Yeah. So like
might as well,
I'm leading. No, I'm leading into it. Yeah. But fuck, Alex Coughlin. That's it. It cost him his career.
Yeah.
And it should have been a bigger conversation then.
Yeah.
Because that was one of like as good as that match is, it's an uncomfortable watch.
Yeah.
Especially if you go back and watch it now, knowing that Alex Coughlin is medically disqualified from wrestling.
Yeah.
And two, Henare, he damn near died too.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who've had concussions over the past number of years. A lot of people who have had them. And Corey Graves comes to mind right now. He is medically uncleared for part of it too. He has concussion problems as well.
Oh, he's cleared. He got cleared last year.
Yeah, but they won't let him in the ring. They're too
No,
afraid.
he's staying out of the ring. His own choice.
He still has concussion problems,
No, of course.
right?
Whether yeah, like he has
AEW right now
concussion
is not
problems, but like he can go.
AEW. I don't think he's ever going to go. AEW though is right now coming very close to a lot of people crapping on him for stuff like this. A number of weeks ago, you had blood and guts, the blatant shot
Oh,
that Jack Perry took to the head. Like it wasn't even like he had no like Swerve could have put his hand up in that match. Perry, on the other hand, had both his hands handcuffed to a cage. One had a choice. I mean, I'm sure they both had choices, but one could have prevented it, the other one did not.
I said this to you. Yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't believe for 1 second that any of these guys are taking liberties with each other. Okay.
No, I don't think any of it's personal at all towards anybody.
All of this, I'm sure is mapped out.
I would
Okay.
hope so. Considering the concussion problems that
But
the wrestling doesn't want that problem. There's a big enough problem in the NFL with it.
so that's the thing, right? So um as somebody who's suffered multiple, and I'm approaching my mid-30s, and I have memory problems, and you know I'm kind of not all there all the time.
I guess.
Yeah, you can attest. Yeah. Wrestling, as much as I love it, like I very deeply care about the safety of these performers.
Yeah.
And again, they're all grown men. If they want to do it, if they sign up to do it, go ahead.
Well, that's just it,
But
right?
I'm just gonna point this out. Okay? There's a reason why WWE banned this stuff.
Yeah, it's very rarely do you see a WWE person take a blatant chair shot to the head.
It's
Very
not
rare.
even that. It's like an unprotected chair shot to the head.
Yeah, it's very rare when you see somebody take one. I think
Hangman hit Swerve so hard with this chair that the seat of it broke off.
like I remember when Ken Shamrock took one blade to the face from The Rock.
Well,
Like that was
there.
years ago.
So Shamrock was on Chris Van Vliet like
Yeah.
many years ago, but
Mhm.
he talked about this. He said that was all him.
Yeah. I'm sure Jack Perry was all him too, and I'm sure Swerve was all him as well. I'm
Yeah.
sure they all were all them. I don't think like you said, liberties, I don't think is happening at all.
I'm
I
just
think it's
saying,
not.
as of listen, the level of violence, I don't have a problem with. Again, you want to end a match in 2024 with a chair shot to the head? I'm cool with it, but do it safely, please.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a problem. Concussions are a problem that the WWE does. Well, AEW doesn't want for sure. I know WWE definitely doesn't want it. You see you see what concussions and the problem concussions have caused with the NFL. We're both NFL fans, right?
Yeah.
I know we've definitely seen a few careers ended due to concussions.
the go-to example, especially as a Chargers fan,
Yeah.
Junior Seau.
CT, yeah. Well, he was one of the first few to really them mention he had CTC.
Yeah.
Right. He was one of the first ones to after he committed suicide. Blood, that was like what 13 years ago now, or something like that.
Yeah, that was
That
like
was a long time ago. That was
2010, 2011.
I know it was around that time because I was in Vancouver when he passed away.
That's fair.
So that's how
Look,
long ago that was. That was in between 2010 and 2015. So it's between
so
that 5 year gap.
okay, so let's just cut the bullshit. Okay,
Sure.
I'm gonna ask you straight up.
Sure.
W- I've made my opinion known. Where do you stand?
On what?
Chair shots to the head.
As a fan, I think it's a lot cool. Who doesn't like a chair shot to the head?
It's true.
As somebody who now you've seen me lift.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of seen people in real life and outside of a video have seen me in real life. I'm not small.
No.
I'm about 230-pound brick shithouse.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's seen me in real life, 6'4",
That's crazy. I'm only 10 pounds lighter than you.
6'4".
Yeah, I'm 10
Now,
pounds lighter than you.
I've swung a chair on somebody before on their head. When I was younger, when I was not younger, not where I am physically as I am today, but I had a lot of power back then. What makes you think now I don't have as much power, if not more? I know I could do
Right.
somebody that with a free-headed shot. That being said, protect yourself in some way, shape, or form. You want to do it, great. Protect yourself in some way, shape, or form for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hit that Jack Perry took, as much
Get
as
a hit.
I thought it was really cool on TV, I don't think it was entirely necessary in the slightest.
It's not though. Like I said, I mean, I think it's a device that you can use effectively.
Yeah.
Um, like Sean Spears did it.
Yeah.
Like when he hit Cody.
Yeah.
Although that one went terribly wrong because Cody got gashed open, big time.
Yeah. There's a reason why these guys hit them in the back.
But again, there even if you get the hand up,
Yeah.
you're it's still pro wrestling. You're still gonna sell it.
That,
Like
yeah.
you can still, but you can still like that to me is like a feud ending shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. The thing though, too, and this is kind of where reality will sit in. Just because you hold your hand up, though, keep it in mind, just because you hold your hand up, you're still feeling the effects of a man or woman swinging a chair at your skull.
I get that, but it's your hand hitting your head, not a fucking metal
You
chair.
think that force is going to do something though, either?
No, of course, but it's gonna feel like a punch in the head instead of.
But they wear helmets in the NFL.
I know.
Mind
I
you,
played
they're
football.
better padded now. Still doesn't help that much.
I know. I played football. My football career was ended because of a concussion.
So,
I get it.
although I'm
But
surprised they haven't even adopted the CFL rules yet.
what I'm saying is I even seen somebody try and start a petition because of how violent all it was. And to me,
That's quite be expected.
I'm like, I'm not going that far because and look, I like AEW. I enjoyed All Out. But those two moments that I talked about, like the Danielson suffocation angle and the ending of that match, the cage match, whew, that was uncomfortable to watch.
I think,
Especially, I think what added to that chair shot was using the hypodermic needle.
yeah, that probably made it weirder. I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna edit on this lovely discussion on this before we get to the sad but happy thing, happy, sad but nice thing WWE did. The last thing AEW really needs though is this. They don't need this type of publicity, especially if somebody's put up a petition saying to stop this type of stuff. That's
It's
not
not
good
getting
for
any
AEW.
traction, if that means
I'm
anything.
sure. You know what? It takes only a few hundred people for it to get even more traction. I'm sure there's people who've signed it. I'm sure there's people out there.
Last I saw, there was like 2 people.
Oh, well, who knows? It could be more now. Who knows?
Could be.
Either way, it's publicity that they don't want. What's wrong? Why's your head down?
I'm good.
Anyway,
Neck hurts.
yeah, fair enough. Anyway, before we end the show here, folks, thank you very much for listening. WD did a wonderful thing today on a very sad day. We mentioned earlier that Sami Zayn came out today wearing a certain person's jersey. They were in Calgary. Today, Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew Gaudreau were put to rest today. And WD did a lovely tribute to them, showing outside of the Calgary Saddledome, and Sami Zayn wore a Johnny Gaudreau jersey. And a lot of people in that crowd were chanting Johnny.
And to her credit, and here's where I'm going to shout out Jackie Redmond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jackie Redmond, for those that don't know, and only know her in the WWE space, she's been working and doing hockey for over a decade.
To get even more Jackie Redmond, before she gave WWE and worked for NHL Network, she used to work downtown Toronto
at the Sport
Network, and she did a lot of interviews and sports updates and stuff like that. She actually replaced Renee Paquette, which became Renee Young in the WWE, then back to Paquette. So she's been around this for years.
And so, look, she did as good as she did, as good as she could.
Yeah.
And you could tell she was kind of fighting back some tears a little bit, but
she didn't mention.
And she even put out a tweet saying that was one of the hardest things she's ever done.
Yeah.
But for those unfamiliar with the case, Johnny and his brother Matt were killed by a drunk driver last Thursday.
Yeah, don't drink and drive, folks. Trust me, I know I've done a lot in my life. It's not smart.
And Johnny Gaudreau was one of the elite of the NHL. And to make this story, and this story just has layers of it gets sadder and sadder.
Yeah.
The night or the day after they were killed was supposed to be their sister's wedding.
Yeah, that wasn't that's crap. Johnny
had 2 young kids. Mm-hmm. Matt was expecting his first kid. Johnny's wife Meredith at the funeral today announced she was 9 weeks pregnant with Johnny's 3rd kid.
Yee. Well.
So us here at DA Wrestling follow WWE and the rest of the sports world, sending our condolences to the Gaudreau family, and I wish them nothing but peace in this very hard time.
Yeah, there's been a lot of tragedies that's happened in the NHL, in sports in general. I feel this one hits a lot harder, I think, than other ones for some odd reason. It feels like this one's a little more. I think it's more personal towards everybody for some odd reason. It probably could be the fact that he was killed by a drunk driver, but everybody seems to be reacting very much the same.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, we've had a lot of tragedy in a lot of sports, but this one seems to be very different than other ones.
Well, you hit the nail on the head because people die every day because somebody decided to drive drunk.
Yeah,
and
like I said, take it from me, folks.
And this one, I'm going to end it with this. What makes this story so impactful is not only did it take away a great hockey player, but you took the father of 3 kids away
Mhm.
from their children. You took a husband away from his wife.
Mhm.
You took a son, 2 sons, away like Matthew was married. You took him away from his wife and his child. You took 2 boys away from their parents.
As
Johnny was only 31.
as a,
Matthew was 29.
as a quote, I think I can't remember what movie it's from. No parent should ever outlive their kid.
Yeah,
Something.
it's unfortunate.
To all those out there too, like I said, if you're thinking about drinking and driving, take it from me. I've done
Call a fucking Uber. It's 20. No.
I've done it a lot in my lifetime, a lot in my early 20s. I'm still here. How? I don't know. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm not proud of that, but I'm telling you now, don't do it. Just think before you do crap. Use your head.
It's 2024. Call a fucking Uber.
Yeah, just use your head nowadays, folks. A lot of people nowadays don't use their head enough.
On that note,
it's that lump that's 3 feet above your head. Ass.
On that note, I'm gonna get us out of here.
Get us out of here.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover, or do we get everything?
I think we got absolutely everything here. We'll see on the. I'll be here hopefully for Dynamite. We'll see how that one goes because, yeah.
Busy week ahead.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine coming into town who I haven't seen in a long time. I've known him for 35 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were telling me about this.
I may or may not be able to do Dynamite. So hopefully Doug will watch Dynamite and do it for us. Hopefully. I'll try my best.
No promises.
Yeah, well, that's super duper.
No promises. Worst case scenario, we'll be back Saturday morning with the SmackDown review. Which will feature Cody and Solo in a cage match for the title.
Yeah.
And until then, thank you for listening. If you're listening to us, go find us on YouTube, DA Wrestling Podcast. If you are watching us on YouTube, go find us on Spotify. I'm working on the Apple thing. We just have to change the logo so it meets Apple requirements, and then I'll get the show up there. So coming soon to Apple. And follow us on socials. DA Sports Podcast on Instagram, DA Sports Pod on Twitter. You can find him, April1982 on Instagram, Andrew DA Sports on TikTok. I'm DLions1991 on Twitter. We'll catch you down the road.
Later.